Like the wind, change is something you feel, not something that can necessarily be seen. Change can happen in large quantities or through small acts of kindness. Cesar Chavez said, "Once social change begins, it cannot be reversed. You cannot uneducate the person who has learned to read. You cannot humiliate the person who feels pride. And you cannot oppress a people who are not afraid anymore. We have seen the future, and the future is ours. For this, I believe in social change." Reflecting on my college career, it's hard to remember what my life was like before my first alternative break. I hardly have a single memory that doesn't include my time or the friends I have made through this program, whether it be as a participant, a site leader, or a board member. Through CMU Alternative Breaks, I've had the opportunity to develop into a lifelong active citizen in local, national, and global communities through diverse direct service experiences dedicated to social justice. What does active citizenship mean? To me, it's a brief moment that occurs in time. Although that moment comes as quickly as it goes, the memory lives inside me forever. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself here. Let's take a look back at how it all began. When I first began Alternative Breaks, I was a 19-year-old who thought they knew what the world meant, until my perfect year had an unhappy ending. Because of this, I began questioning who I was and what I stood for. When thinking about this moment, I'm reminded of a quote by Mahatma Gandhi. "The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others." And so began my journey of becoming lost through the act of service. On my first break in May of 2010, I was the typical volunteer, well-intentioned but not well-educated. At first, I was inspired to continue with my volunteer experience because I was learning a lot about myself and what I wanted to do. After I got back, I knew I wanted to be a site leader, but I definitely needed more experience. In the spring of 2011, I decided to expand my horizons with service instead of location. I decided to take on the challenge of working on a house in a labor-intensive break. Throughout this week, as a group, we had many trials and tribulations, but we never let that get us down. I even found myself living life on the edge, maybe a little more than I should have. This week was a breakthrough in my development as a leader and inspired me to make the transition from a participant to a site leader. In May of 2011, I had the most life-changing experience educating myself on the Veterans Affairs system and also working with a man named Jerry Popejoy. Even as a child who went to church, I was never really a person of faith. I never followed a religion, nor did I understand it. I can't say that I have full understanding of religion today, or have I found one to follow. But what I learned from Jerry Popejoy is that it doesn't matter if you believe in God, a higher power, or no power at all. You have a religion if you have faith. As long as you have faith in something, you have the ability to change the world. Although Jerry is no longer a physical member of this world, he is someone that lives inside me today and several others whose lives he has touched. In the fall of 2011, I got the opportunity to transition into a site leader. I had high hopes to inspire young participants to become lost and fall in love with service, just as I had. I wanted to see that sparkle in their eyes. I had come a long way from that first break, from not being ready to lead a group of students into being a more patient and developed leader amongst my peers. After nearly 2 years of service in the program, I got the opportunity to lead my first break in the winter of 2011. Working with students with disabilities is always a challenge within itself, but when the students are nonverbal, this makes our standard way of communicating with people become atypical. I've gained a different perspective on life from this break and realized that I often took my voice for granted. There's a quote by Scott Hamilton that says, "The only disability in life is having a bad attitude." Because of this break, I changed my attitude about the way that I treated others, communicated with others, and viewed others. My second site leading experience came much faster than I could have imagined it, just 8 short weeks into my spring semester of 2012. Our whole group clicked extremely well, and everyone was very excited about being a guinea pig at our brand new service site. We were the first Alternative Breaks program this nonprofit had ever had. With little knowledge about the Alternative Breaks program and the ability that a group of 12 can do in 1 week, they weren't sure what to expect of us. When we finished organizing an entire house of donations, painting some rooms, did some after-school tutoring, ran a career-ready fashion show, amongst many other things, the Carolina Youth Development Center knew they wanted us to come back year after year. Feeling extremely proud and unified as a group, many of my participants felt empowered to get more involved on campus, and some even further involved in the Alternative Breaks program. Until this moment in time, I never realized just how special a single child was and the effect they could have on my life. It wasn't until this break that I found my constructivist view on life and education. After my magical experience as a site leader, I decided to apply to be a board member in December 2011. I wanted to help the leaders in my program find their passions, feel empowered to be part of the social change movement, and to recognize the transferable skills that one can gain from this program. With a vast knowledge about the mission statement of the program, I was a great candidate to offer a healthy balance between structure and support. To this day, I've been on the Alternative Breaks board for almost a whole year. Through my position, I select student leaders, orient, and train them, amongst many other things. The list for this position is endless, yet it is one of the most rewarding things I've ever done. I've always thought I was only suited to teach young children, but through this position, I've encompassed a bigger picture view on life. It has shown me my ability to work with peers and college-aged students. With this, I hope to really encompass the concept of a lifelong learner by getting my master's and potentially my educational doctorate in education so that I can become an educator of future educators. When thinking about all of my breaks, I have become a teacher, a construction worker, a listening ear, someone who can finally read a map, a voice for those without one, but the most important thing that I have become is an advocate. Essentially, what the Alternative Breaks program has encompassed me with is not only a love for service, an opportunity to travel around the nation, but also has given me a realistic ability on how change can be made. Although the world has the ability to change us as people, Margaret Mead believes that we should never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. It's like Chavez said, once social change begins, it cannot be reversed, and my transformation as a leader through the Alternative Breaks program is irreversible. For this, I will always believe in social change.